What do you reckon? Yeah. Hello again YouTube, and welcome to the Pain Cave, where this afternoon I'm going to be doing a bike fit on my new, to me, time trial or triathlon bike. So this is the Planet X Exocet 2 Project Greyhound, which I've detailed in other videos on this channel if you'd like to take a look and see the progress from me buying what was quite a focused time trial bike and then making some changes to it to make it more triathlon friendly. So we're basically there in terms of what I want in terms of mechanics on the bike. So really all I need to do is get it fitted to me now. Now obviously I could go out and spend a couple of £100 with a bike fitter, and that would probably be a good investment. Equally, on my phone I've got the BFF bike fitting app, which I've had on there since I bought the Planet X Pro Carbon Evo, and that needed a bike fit done on it. So basically I downloaded that app back then and did quite a reasonable bike fit. Now it's been a couple of years since I used that app, and I have to say in the time between the last time I used it and now, it's come on quite a way. So there's quite a lot of new features in there, and I thought this would probably be a good video to do a review of it, or a re-review of it, and also to do a review of it fitting a time trial bike, because your fit on a time trial bike is going to be different to the fit that you do on a road bike. Obviously, you know, you're going to be in a different riding position. You've got to account for the fact that you're not just holding on to drop bars, you're on tri bars, you know. So I'm interested to see how it copes with the difference between a road bike and a time trial bike. Equally, what I want to do is to see how close I can get in comparison to what it recommends. So what I'm going to do this afternoon is I'm going to do this in 2 rounds. I'm going to jump on the bike as it is now, and that was a very loose basic setup that I did to it. I'm going to jump on it and see if I can dial it into what feels right, and then I'm going to use the BFF app to see if that reveals any differences that it would suggest, and then I'll try those differences and see, you know, what the outcome is. So I'm going to jump on the bike, spin the pedals, see how I feel on it, and then just see what my head tells me to change. I'll change those things, and then we'll go on to the bike fitting app. I think the plan is I'm going to go with the longer stem. I'm going to go slightly down on the saddle and slightly forward, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so here we go. We've got a longer stem, and the saddle already feels better actually. Saddle is down, stem is slightly longer. Actually, that feels pretty good, I've got to say. Oddly, now that stem has gone forward, I just think, yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift the saddle forward and up just a little bit. That feels really comfortable. Right, let's see what the BFF app says. So I'm going to walk through the app on my iPhone here and just talk you through the way that you use it, the things I really like, and maybe one or two things I think could be improved. So when you open the app, as you can see here on my home screen, I've got a few fitting sessions I've done already. I guess the thing that you're going to want to do is a new fitting session, and that button is prominent on the home screen there, right in the bottom right hand corner. So you literally just click new session. You're going to need to give it some basic details here. You're going to tell it the name of the fitting session. So, you know, in this example, I'm fitting the Greyhound, so I'm calling this fitting session Greyhound. It's going to want to know what type of rider you're fitting, whether they're novice, intermediate or advanced. I put myself down as intermediate because I've been cycling for years and I'm big-headed enough to think that I know enough about this to be intermediate. It will also want to know what type of bike you're fitting. You can see that you can fit everything basically from a road bike to a spin bike if you wanted to. Obviously I'm fitting a TT bike, so I'm going to pick TT here. Plus also the nature of the fitting session. Is it just a general fitting session to get somebody into a comfortable and usable position on the bike? Or do you, for example, want increased aero? Nice touch. I haven't tried the increased aero option. I think I need to just settle into this position before I start getting too aero. Anyway, with those details entered, you will then just have to enter a couple of basic details about the bike. So the application's going to want to know the crank length, obviously, because that, you know, dictates a lot of your angles and stuff like that. Plus, it will want to know the axle to axle measurement on the bike. I think it uses that probably for a bit of the AI geometry that it does, but I think it probably also uses it to help the app frame the bike and draw the little triangle it's going to overlay on the bike for you to frame it. So with those details entered, you're then on to capturing some video that you can go on to analyze. Now I have to say that the capturing of the video is pretty easy. There are some options that you can select. You can select the timer delay, so you know how long between me clicking the record button and it actually starting to record, which is a good thing because you want some time to run across, jump onto the bike, get the pedals spinning and get comfortable. You can also select how many pedal revolutions you capture. I think it defaults to 10, which is what I've got it set at. But I guess, you know, obviously the more that you can capture, the better. And then, you know, basically it's a case of setting your phone up in a good position to frame the bike correctly for the application. Now the application gives you this screen with kind of this triangle that you've got to overlay onto the front triangle of your bike, and kind of a basic reference for where the top of the stem should be and a basic reference for where the saddle should be. Don't worry too much about those. You can also see you've got kind of an indicator over on the left hand side of the screen there that's telling you whether it thinks the image needs to go up or down in terms of its framing. And herein is the really tricky part with this. I think the really tricky part is finding somewhere to position your phone where it's stable, in a flat plane to the bike to capture it nicely, and also, more importantly, in a way that you can see the screen to press all the right buttons whilst leaving that back camera free. Now, for me, I found this onerous, I think is the word that I would use for it. The solution that I came up with was to use one of these kind of iPhone clamp things. I think this came with a gimbal or something I bought from Amazon. And I screwed that on top of a tripod, and then I positioned the tripod to face the bike. Now, what you find is that the app wants to use the rear-facing camera. I guess that's because that's a better quality camera. But with the clamp that I'm using on the iPhone, that then means that the screen is partially obscured, and a lot of the buttons and things that you'll actually want to see on the screen are obscured. If I could make one request or one suggestion to the developers of the app, it would be, is there some way you could just use the front-facing camera so that, I can just clamp this into a tripod and I can see all the things that I want to on the screen from the front. And if you think, basically, you're going to have your phone there, you're going to have your bike over here, you can then set everything up perfectly on your screen and run across to your bike, and you can make sure everything's framed and working nicely. Whereas as it stands, basically I have to put the phone on the tripod, try and lean around the back, do all my adjustments around the clamp that I've put on. It's a ball ache, frankly. But anyway, that aside, once you're capturing the video, it's easy enough. You just let the phone do its thing. And then with the video captured, the app will make some recommendations. And as you can see, I go to the length of marking kind of the key points, the elbow, the knee, the foot, with these red dots I buy from Amazon. I started doing this when I first started using the app. I'll be honest with you, I think you can get away these days without using these dots. I think the AI in the app is so good, it can just look at your body shape and know where things are. But I like to use them anyway. So yeah, basically it looks at the landmark points and it says, basically, I think you may need to make these changes or no changes at all. Now, as you can see on my dashboard here, I took several passes at this. And this is the great thing about having an app like this, and especially this app. You can do as many fits as you want until you get it right, until you get comfortable, until you're perfectly happy with it. You can keep shooting video, analysing video, and changing stuff on the bike. And that's really cool. Because even if you went to a professional bike fitter, your time there would be limited. So if, like me, you're a faffer, and you're a little bit indecisive, you could easily run out of time or money doing that. Whereas with this app, you just keep going till you get it right, I guess. Now, with the video captured and in analysis within the tool, there are a couple of dashboard views that you can look at. It defaults to this EZ dashboard. I think that's where it's basically, that's where it's making its AI recommendations to you on what it thinks needs to change. You can just watch the video back that you've captured, and I like to do that. I like to do that because it's probably the only time I'm going to see myself from this angle on the bike and think, does that look right, as well as feel right? But you've also got this classic dashboard view. And the classic dashboard is really good because with the classic dashboard, you can grab some of the movable points and move them. So as you can see, on all of your dashboard views, you get this little wire frame that sits over your torso and your legs and what have you. Well, basically, you can grab the landmark points, the movable landmark points, such as the foot position and the wrist position, and you can move those and see what impact it will have on the entire overall fit. Really nice idea. And I'm really glad that when they've updated the app and they've gone sort of quite AI on it, that they preserved that classic dashboard view. You've got another couple of other tools on here as well. And one I really like is the laser tool. So you can overlay a laser line onto your image. And you might say, well, what good is that? I suppose it's really handy if you just wanted a visual reference for something like knee over pedal spindle. I know all the bike fitters in the room are going to go mad at this point because that's a very unfashionable metric to use. But where I would use this, I think, more is if you grab the laser line with 2 fingers, you can swivel it round through sort of 90 degrees. And then, you know, for example, you can judge how level the top of your saddle is with your bars or something like that. These are all just really nice little touches that clearly somebody's looked at the app and thought, wouldn't it be cool if it did that? So, with the brief tour of the application done, let's shoot back to me in the pain cave and some more on-bike footage and my final thoughts on the application. Right. So, this is where I think I've got to. Which, that feels quite natural actually. Down on the drops, or down on the bars, power's not too bad actually. Making a couple of 100 watts, just ticking over. How does that leg feel? You know what, I'm going to do one more analysis with the phone app and see what it says. Okay, so I gotta say that I don't know, it feels weird that the saddle needs to come down even further. They reckon another 18mm, which is practically back to where I had it to begin with. So do you know what? I'm going to do it because when I look at the video, the knee, the leg is still very extended. What do you know? Suddenly making more power. Right, let's have another look at the app. Suddenly, everything's green. So, suddenly, it likes where the saddle is, it likes the fore aft, and just says the position is quite aggressive. Right. So there's my thoughts on the BFF bike fitting application. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I think I would. You know, it doesn't cost the earth. Like I said in the video, you can do as many fits as you want with it. You're not restricted to a finite number of sessions like some of the AI fitting tools I've seen online you're restricted to. And I think it's just really good value. It's really well designed. They keep developing the application, and from my point of view, it's a real winner. So there it is. The Greyhound is effectively done. Really all I've got to do now is slap the decent rubber on. I've got some GP5000s to go onto these wheels and just get it out and start using it. I think the first opportunity to start using it will be an Easter time trial that my Tri Club participates in, which I haven't done in years. I haven't done much in years. So it'll be nice to actually pin a number on and get racing again. So I definitely think I'm going to be entering the Easter egg 10 time trial on this. And I think even if you weren't going to use the AI recommendations it makes in the easy dashboard or whatever it calls it, I think just being able to see the analysis it's doing of the angles that your legs are forming, and just getting that well-framed shot of yourself from the side on the bike. I think that's absolutely invaluable. But I think the way that this app mixes it in with the AI to be able to say to you, you know, I think your saddle needs to come down, or it needs to go forward or move back or whatever, I think that's absolutely invaluable. So the Greyhound is now effectively ready to go. I'm just going to slap on the GP5000s, which are sitting on my desk waiting to go onto it. And then I think I'm going to get myself out to a local Easter 10-mile time trial I haven't done in years, which in fact was the first time trial I ever did. And I will try to make a video on that. But anyway, yeah, BFF bike fitting application. I've used it on a time trial bike here. Like I said in the video, you could use it on anything from a time trial bike to a spin bike. So check it out. I got it on Apple, so I've got it on iOS. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if they do an Android version for it. It wouldn't surprise me if they do, so go look in the Play Store if you're an Android user. But if you're an Apple user, definitely check it out in the App Store, because I definitely would endorse it as a good tool. The only caveat, and the one closing thought that I'd say to the designers as you continue to design this app, if you could do something to make it just slightly easier to position the phone. And don't get me wrong, it's come on leaps and bounds from the first version of the app I used, where you had to frame up both wheels and the triangle and the saddle and stuff like that. It's come on leaps and bounds, because really all you've got to do is frame up the front triangle and the saddle. But even the thought struck me, even if you could use like the front-facing camera on the iPhone, that might even be a little bit better, because that way you're looking at the screen. And if you're using one of those phone holders that I'm using, that I guess a lot of people might use, with the current setup, that phone holder using the rear-facing camera actually obscures a lot of the controls that you'll want to use, So just little touches like that, I think, will continue to refine the application. But I have no doubt that there is development ongoing on the application, even as I record this. So anyway, yeah, kudos to the guys that developed this application, and check it out. And hopefully there will shortly be a video coming where I get out and race this thing. If not, there'll be a road test at least. Anyway, thanks for watching this one, YouTube, and I will catch you in the next.